Well, joining us now to discuss these issues is Mike Oluwagbemi, who is a member of the All Progressives Congress. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's a pleasure.
Well,
thank you.
Amaka,
interesting. The fact that you are a member of the APC, and I know you support the Vice President emerging. First of all, let's start with he actually officially declaring after all of the supports we had seen the weeks leading to that. What does this really mean for Nigerians? And the fact that we're seeing some of those who don't support his declaration, they see it as a betrayal. How does that sit with you?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and listeners. It is a pleasure to be able to discuss the opportunity of the Vice President to present himself for the candidacy of the APC in the next presidential election. I think the issue around betrayal is a non-starter. I think that the Vice President has served the country for the last 7 years, and as the Vice President, as well as in some period as the acting President, meritoriously. And I think it's up to him as a public servant, who is probably going to be the only one on the ballot that has actually had to make those difficult life and death decisions that the President and Commander-in-Chief makes.
Tinubu was not sort of like a godfather to the Vice President.
I never said so. I only talked about the Vice President. I think you journalists are having a lot of fun.
No, we're not having fun. That's why you're here.
No,
to
I
actually
know.
set the record straight.
I'm just saying. I never mentioned.
You stylishly, diplomatically dodged the question about the betrayal.
I only mentioned the Vice President's readiness for the office, and the fact that he's the only one that has been president before. Nobody that will be on the ticket has ever had that role as president and commander-in-chief. The only person that will have had that experience, who had to make those difficult decisions to govern this country, and who will be on that ballot at APC's primary, will be the president, the vice president of the country. And this was also the case, by the way, if I remind you all, in 2014. President Buhari was the only man who had experience as head of state of this country, and he went on to win the ticket. So in this instance, the vice president would be fulfilling the same role.
Some would say you're comparing apples and oranges because as the Vice President, his work is limited. He's not the man in charge. But you have established politicians who have ruled states, who have been in charge. And so being a Vice President is not the same as being the President. But let's leave that. Bola Tinubu is not a featherweight politician. He's been former senator, he's been two-time governor of Lagos State, he's been the national leader of a political party that is now boasting of 41 million members. Does the Vice President has what it takes, and is he ready for the likely financial and political consequences of going against such a person as Bola Tinubu, a one-time benefactor, a one-time boss? Does he have the war chest to go against the Bola Tinubu?
I will go back to 2014. President Buhari was the poorest candidate of our party, and he emerged as the candidate of the party. I will also go back to 2014 to say that President Buhari was the only one that has had that role as commander-in-chief before, and he was up against somebody who was vice president before. Vice President Osinbajo is a special vice president. He's the only vice president in the history of Nigeria that has been acting president. In the entire 8-year tenure of Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Alhaji Sambo that succeeded him as Goodluck Jonathan, who was acting president by doctrine of necessity, but never went for an election as acting president, or someone who has just had vice presidential experience. Vice President Osinbajo, on the other hand, is a vice president that have been acting president, even if it is for 2 days. But in this case, it's not for 2 days, for many, many months.
How does that
equate? And the experience, and again, Nigerians are able to refer back to their experience under him as acting president. So, you know, we can all discuss the flowery language here. We can all talk about being governor of Lagos. Yes, to his credit, Asiwaju Tinubu is our leader, the national leader of the APC. And he's not a man of mean means. He's not a lightweight. I agree with you, but neither is the vice president of Nigeria. We're talking about the vice president of the biggest economy in Africa, of the richest black nation in the world, who have the lives of 207 million people under his guardianship once as an acting president, and even now as the chairman of the Federal Executive of the National Economic Council. So we are not talking about governor of Ondo State, governor of Ekiti State, governor of Lagos State. If you are governor of Lagos State, yes, you are the governor of the biggest economy among states in Nigeria.
Well,
but you are still not the vice president or acting president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So this we are so we again talking about apples and oranges. Two different issues. Politics is not just about money. There are three things that will matter when it comes to
Nigerian politics.
Not even I gave you example. In fact, the reality of Nigerian politics is that it's not usually the richest candidates that win. I will go to 1979. Alhaji Shagari was not the richest candidate in Nigeria. I will go to 1999. President Olusegun Obasanjo came out of prison broke. I will go to 2007. President Yar'Adua, when among the competitors, we had Odili, who was later caught for different EFCC crimes. Igbeneghu, who was later derobed of his money. We had the likes of Ibori, who later was caught up in Dubai with a stash load of money. They didn't become president. And then I will go even to, I will even go all the way now to 2014 in our party. Look, at the end of the day, to become the president of Nigeria, we all know it takes more than just money. In this particular instance,
but you're not discountenancing the.
I am not. They are different. They are different factors.
So the money.
Money plays its role, but it's not the sole factor.
Well, even if it's not the sole factor, you keep saying that those who emerged were not the richest, but they had big chested.
Definitely not President Buhari.
But you know what? You sound very confident, but we'll wait and see how the vice president is able to surmount all of the hollows starched up against him, especially looking at setting up structures.
I think
really. But we have to say thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program. That is Mike Oluwagbemi, a member of the APC. Thank you.